Hello Trailblazers, it's another beautiful day here in Utah. Blue skies, sunshine, not too hot where I'm at. We went out riding a little in the ATVs last week, so I don't know if you've I probably haven't debuted this four-wheeler here. I bought this last November, I believe. It's a 2024 Sportsman 850 Premium, and I hadn't put a lot of miles on it since then. I'll give you a quick walk around just so you can see what it is. It's basically the Premium, which gives you the power steering. I added a few things myself that it didn't come with. I added the winch, and I went with a Warn 3500. I tried to go bigger, but the only mount plate that Warn sells only fits the 3500. So the 4500 I ordered, I couldn't put in, I had to send back. So I've added the winch. I added the hot grips. Got the hot grips there. And I also added the thumb heater. The thumb heaters on there. One of the nice things that Polaris does with that is when you buy their kit, it comes with these nice little switches. Hot grips, high, lower, off. Thumb heater, high, lower, off, and that makes it so simple. It just hooks up under this pod. You take a few screws out, it comes out at plug and play, no splicing or anything like that. So that was pretty easy. It's pretty nice to put those on. So the winch and the hot grips, about the only thing I've added, I don't think. So like I said in the beginning, this is going to be the first service on this machine. As you can see, it's got 263 miles on it, and it had about, it was 19.7 hours. So we're going to pull it in the shop, put it on the lift. I just warmed it up so the oil's warm. I'm going to take it in, put it on the lift, and do the first service on this Polaris. All right, we got her up on the lift. We had her outside earlier and got her previously warmed up, so the oil is warm. We're going to go ahead and start running through everything. I'm going to start with the oil first, since it's warm. And this is kind of hard to see. It's actually super hard to see. So I've got this just a little bit of a lift, which makes it a little bit easier than doing it on the ground probably, because there's not really enough room to roll under there and look. So if you can see up here, there's a plate there with 3 screws on it. That's for the oil filter. And the hole right next to it is where the oil plug is. And that takes a 6mm Allen wrench. So try to drain that. If you can see, the best way I felt to do it is just kind of reach in and fill the plug, and then see if you can get your Allen wrench in it. Which, there it is. Put my drain pan over there, and then we're just going to go ahead and pull that out. Looks pretty clean actually, but this is the first service. I like to do it. They said I could go another 5 or 6 hours. But I prefer to do the first one early and just try and see if, make sure there's no metal or anything in there. So I'm looking just here on the drain plug, and it just looks super clean. I mean, I don't know if it has a magnet in it, but there's no metal at all on there. They want you to change that crush washer every time, but I don't. You can if you want. If you want to do it by the book, order a bunch of crush washers and you can change it every time. We're going to let that oil drain there. And while it's draining, I'm going to go ahead and take off this oil filter cover. I'm gonna set the drain plug aside. There's not much coming out there. Can make a little room. Pull this. 3 screws. These are a T40. Torx 40. Wow, I haven't ridden this that much, but look at all the junk that is up under there just from riding. Wow. We were out in the weeds one day, but my gosh. So the oil filter's up in there, and unfortunately, I used to have one of these filter wrenches that would fit that, but I do not see it anywhere, and so I'm gonna have to see if there's an alternative way that I can get that oil filter out without an oil filter wrench. So I was wondering, I do have this wrench here, but I just do not think it's too big to get up in there, I do believe. Yeah, I'm not sure that any oil filter wrench is gonna get up in there and fit, so that's off the table. Next thing I'm gonna try to do is just turn it by hand. And it feels like it's way too tight for that. I've used these large pliers quite a few times, so we're gonna see if those happen to go up in there and latch onto it, but I don't think that's gonna work either. So it appears to me I need to find the right tool, and let me go see if I can find it. Okay, I still can't find the right tool that I need, but what I did discover is if you look back in here, you can see that wrench I've got right there. You can go over the top of that bar, reach in there with your hand underneath, and slide that oil filter wrench up onto the filter. And then once it's on the filter, there is enough room for the handle to stick out right here, and I was able to get it loose. So I might need to give it a few more turns. Let's see if we can. I'm just gonna have to set this down a second while I do that. Reach up inside, pull that filter wrench tight. I can spin that filter down, and then you have to put the handle back inside there. Which is kind of a pain. Move it over here to the left to get it out of the way, and then get it back out. But this is just a small oil filter wrench. Now my filter is loose enough, I can spin it off by hand and put it into the oil. Looks like the Polaris part number for this is 2520799. So if you're one of the people that feel you have to use Polaris products, that's the number to change it with. I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. I am a huge Amsoil guy, and I'm going to be using an Amsoil This is the EAOM 103. So you can order this right on the Amsoil website I'm not using a kit today, but Amsoil does sell kits. I'll link an Amsoil link in the bottom. Anybody can order Amsoil products directly off this link, and if you sign up as a preferred customer with Amsoil, I believe it's $10 for 6 months or $20 for a year, then you get 25% off of any Amsoil products that you order during that year. So I'll have a link down there that you can do that if you'd like to. And I'm going to show you all of the products that I put into this today. So we have our Amsoil EAOM 103 filter. I'm going to lube that gasket up a tad, and I am going to put that one back up in there, and there should be enough room to spin it on. Now, if you've done a lot of oil changes, you know what you're supposed to do is contact the rubber seal with the mounting surface, and then you're supposed to turn it about 3/4 of a turn. So I'm going to see how far I can turn it with my fingers, and just the way it is, I'm not going to be able to do that. So I'm going to try to put this oil filter wrench back on it, which normally I do not do, but just because of the precarious position of this one, I am going to see if I can get that handle back out. Okay, what a pain that was. Okay, I got it on the filter. Tighten that up. Okay, there we go. Okay, I can feel the tension start to come on it. One more snug. One more. I'm going to call that right there. Okay, the filter's tight. Again, folks, get the right adapter to make it 10 times easier. Alright, so our filter's on and tight. We've got our drain plug here with our crush washer and our proper Allen wrench. I'm going to go ahead, you can see it's still barely dripping there. I'm going to stick that up in there and tighten that. Okay, that is tight. You don't have to do this. I just like to snug these a little bit because you can't get very much torque on them, but you don't want to over torque them either. But what I like to do is just put that back in and just give it a tiny bit of snug with a set of vice grips on it. All right, oil plug back in, oil filter back in. That is the bottom. We got one screw on this side. And then you got two screws on the other side. And it covers. Just do not like to start very easy. Guess I'll use the tool again. tighten those two up. And hopefully this other one will line it right up. Okay. We have the drain plug back in tight. We got our oil filter cover back in, all 3 screws in and tight. So we're buttoned up on the oil. Next, I think I'm going to start with the front diff. Polaris says to do the front diff at 25 hours the first time, and then they tell you every 100 hours after that. I don't run in 4-wheel drive very often, and I've kind of found that when I'm doing my oil changes, the front diff oil is always so dang clean that after the first one, I mean, we'll see if we got any metal or things on that there, but usually I almost go every other time on these diffs, especially not the back one but the front one, because they hardly ever hold anything. So the drain plug's here on the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and just pull that out and drain the front diff. These don't take very much. That's the only kudos. See, look how clean that oil is. I mean, it's just like brand new. It's just like wasting that for me. Here's our plug. You can tell this one is magnetic, and it has just a little bit. I mean, it's got a little bit of stuff on the front. This has not been ridden in 4-wheel drive hardly at all. So while that drains, I usually just like to clean up this plug. Take a look at that O-ring again. Polaris probably wants you to change that every time, and I don't think it's necessary. Definitely has a magnet in it. I don't think the oil drain plug does. So that drain plug's out and it's draining. And the fill plug, I don't know if you can see this, is right down in there on the diff. I don't know if you can see right there. Fill plug. So this one is not easy to get to. You can put a long Allen wrench in it from the side. One tip, that if this is too big of a pain in the butt for you, if you took this front tire off, this would be much easier. But I'm going to try to get her done without it. So there's our fill plug. I'm going to take it out. It's got an O-ring on it, no magnet. So when we put those back in, we need to make sure we put them in the right spot. I'm going to go ahead and let that quit draining just for a second. Okay, our front diff is done draining. We've got it done, just barely dripping. So I'm going to put this plug back in from the bottom. This one actually has a good enough amount of room in here that you can snug that tight enough without vice grips. It's a big enough wrench. Just gonna tighten that up just snug. I don't want to over tighten those. They're easy to strip, especially if you don't have the right tool. Okay, so I'm gonna fill the front diff. This is the fluid that I use. Amsoil ATV UTV powertrain fluid. This is for the front diff and the transmission. It takes 0.3 tenths of a quart, so not quite a third of a quart to fill this front diff up. And what I'm gonna do, because this front one is hard to get to, so I've got a rubber hose here, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the rubber hose, and it's still just slightly, it's just about the size of the hole. So I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm gonna stuff this in the hole. Hopefully. Not good. Barely, we're good right there. And then the nice thing about these Amsoil bags is they've got this nice little tip on the end of them. And that tip is going to go right in that hose. And I've got about 1/3 of a quart in there. And my camera shut off. So we've got our hose, we've got it in there, and we've got it filling with this bag. And like I was saying, this bag has a little tip on it that just fits perfect in that hose. And it's going to allow that to drain down. Takes about 1/3 of a quart. You can see it's running out of there already. You must have had just a little more than 1/3 of a quart. You can see it's still running. That's just supposed to be filled up to the top mark there. And maybe that doesn't even, it says it holds 3/10, but it didn't take very much. So I'm going to put that drain plug, fill plug back in. I made a little bit of a mess. Okay, so we got the front drained, drain plug back in, and a fill plug. Trying to go back in. Okay, I'm not gonna put that too tight. Hand tight. And the front is done. A little bit of a mess here. Alright, so we got the front all done. Front's done, engine's drained but not filled. We're going to work our way back. And the next one we're going to do is the transmission. See where we get the best camera angle here. I don't know, probably just right here. So this first plug on the right hand side of the transmission, let me go ahead and take it out. This is the fill plug. The fill plug has an O-ring but no magnet on it. Just set it there, and then I don't know if you can see the other side over there. Alright, got it to break free. I'm gonna look here real quick, but before I pull that, I'm looking down at this skid plate below, and that doesn't look like a very good spot to drain. I mean, there's a little drain hole on top, but I'm not seeing anywhere for that oil to go on that skid plate. I mean, that looks kind of like a pain in the butt. It's got a plastic skid plate there. Oh, and it appears it's got those 40 torques on there. I think what I'm going to do, because I want that oil to drain, is go back to my 40 torques. See, just pop this skid plate down. So there's one here. I believe down here on the bottom. Feels like there's one here. Come on. Battery. New batteries, please. Snap on. Inches. One there. There's probably going to be two on the other side. Okay, so I've got the other screws taken off. You can see there's 5 total. There's one here on this side, one in the same spot on the other side, and then 1, 2, 3 across the middle. And if it doesn't seem to want to come down, there's a piece that clamps on up under there. All I'm trying to do is get a way for this oil to drain down. So I'm gonna move my oil pan, catch pan over here, and I think it'll just run down this plate now. I mean, I cannot believe how much junk is up under there from just a couple of rides. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that drain plug. If you can see that. Of course, there's not really to turn it. Get up with my fingers now. It's just going to run on the skid plate, which I hate that design. Why not make that better? Do better, Polaris. Do better. I mean, look at this. All over. That was perfect. Nice. Nice. Not sure that was worth loosening that plate or not. I mean, you'd think you could pull this down in a corner and just get it to run off. So I'm seeing that fluid come out. It looked pretty clean too. I got oil all over both sides. Alright, well that's drip drain in a second. I want to go ahead and show you the plug. So that's the drain plug. This is for the transmission. Look at that. That's got a lot of metal on the end. Good magnet on there, caught most of it. I mean, I think even though that fluid was good, I mean that was quite a bit of metal for the first 200 miles. Polaris recommends do this the first time at 25 hours and then do it every 100 hours after that. I think what I'm gonna do is, it's right around 20 hours right now. I think I'm gonna do everything again at 100 hours. That'd be changing it early. And that way, I have a feeling there's gonna be some more metal on that, on the next one, and then after that it should slow down. I'm gonna put the drain plug back in. See if I can tighten that up. I know you guys probably can't even see in there. It definitely helped taking that rear wheel off for that. And if we can get that just snug. Alright, plug it snug. What a mess that was with that skid plate. I mean, look at that. Probably running all over my floor on the other side. Let me get these screws. And I'm gonna try and clean that up. And then I did get another clean rag. Just gonna pull that down and clean this skid plate off on the inside, just to try to not have that. That is a terrible design. I really can't believe that's what they did. Put the hole on the bottom and have a plug there so you can just drain it. Would be much better. Alright, so that's clean. I'm going to go ahead and put these screws back in. we'll shut that off while I do that. Okay, so I got all the skid plate bolts put back in, tightened up. As you can see, it's still dripping over there once in a while. Not a big fan of that design. There's no good way to do it. If you don't take the skid plate down, you're gonna drip all the oil on it and not be able to get it off. If you do take it down, it's still gonna make a mess, and then I had to clean the skid plate really well with a rag before I put it back up. There's obviously still a few spots dripping. So this is a lot easier for you to see with that tire off. Again, this is the transmission. So the transmission uses this powertrain fluid. It's for transmissions, differentials, and front drive hubs. This is basically the same, or it's meant to replicate the Polaris demand drive fluid, where anywhere it calls for demand drive. One of the nice things again about these Easy Packs, they're called, is they've got their own squirter in them. We're going to be able to just fill that up without a funnel or anything else to try to keep the mess to a minimum. This takes 1.16 quarts, it says, to fill up this transmission. Now I did jack this up a little. You want to make sure you're level before you fill this and don't overfill it. But I've got just a little bit of fluid left in this one that I'm going to go ahead and put in there. See how that Easy Pack is just nice. Get all the fluid out of that. And then I'd pre-cut this one. I'm going to just use the same nozzle. It's easier than cutting every nozzle. I just replace the nozzles. Peel that off. I'm going to put the opened top on. This should take pretty much all of this quart. And then maybe slightly more from a new one. So I'm going to go ahead and just raise that up. And we're going to watch for that to overflow. Once it overflows, got my fill plug ready to put back in. Make sure that seal looks good. It does. Make sure it's clean. It is. And we're going to fill this transmission back up. Doesn't seem like that one's going to quite fill it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is grab another one. So it's not going to take much out of this new one. I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. We're going to let it go until it runs out. Oh, there it goes. It's running out. Put the fill plug back in. Tighten that. Snug it. You see, I still got some drips coming, so we're gonna clean that up best we can. And that transmission is done. Okay, we're on to the rear diff now. So the rear diff doesn't take much. It's kind of like the front diff. This doesn't have a lot of fluid in it. We're going to get our oil over here and this bottom one, and here again there's a skid plate there. This does seem to have a little drain hole right there that's closed, where I don't think we need to Take that skid plate off. I'll see what happens. It's probably still gonna make a mess. Pull that drain plug, and this is a lot dirtier. The rear always is for some reason. You can see looking at that one for first. I mean, that has got a fair amount of, well, that's got more than anything. I mean, way more than the transmission had. But it's expected for first service. So I'm going to clean that up. I'm going to pull this fill plug. This is not too bad to get to. You can kind of get to it from the back. Fill plug. No magnet. That one looks good and clean. I'm going to let that drip for a second. Be right back with you. Alright, that's pretty close to being good. Done draining. Right there, I'm going to take my magnet plug and drop on the floorboard and put it back in here from the bottom. Bottom's in. Make sure it was the magnet one. Snug that up. And then this one probably doesn't have enough, so I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to start filling up the rear. This one just got a little bit in it. I'm going to go ahead and stick that in there and drain that one. Get a new one. And we are gonna put that there and let her go till it starts running out. I don't know if you can see that. That's running out. Tighten up our fill plug. Snug it. Wipe it down a little. All right, so the rear is done. Transmission's done, the front diff's done. We've got the oil drained, the oil plug put back in, and the oil filter on and tight. So now we need to fill up the engine oil. All right, to fill up the engine oil, we're going to go around to the passenger side, pull the dipstick, pull it out, and the engine takes the 550 ATV UTV oil from Amsoil. So we're gonna go ahead and put these in. These hold about, it says 2.01 quarts in the book. So I'm gonna put exactly 2 quarts in it. By the way, if you've never tried Amsoil,
I've been using it most of my life. I've put it in everything. I put it in seriously everything. Lawn mowers, weed eaters, side-by-sides, four-wheelers, my boats, my cars, my diesel pickup, my diesel motorhome. I've been running it in everything for years. They make most filters for most vehicles, and they have extended life oil filters, so you can go longer on an oil change. And they do guarantee, Amsoil has a guarantee that if your motor blew up and it was because of Amsoil, they will buy a new motor. So read the disclaimers for each product. They're not all the same, they're not all that way, but look at their warranty information. Again, if you become a preferred customer, it's $10 for 6 months or $20 for a year. You can buy it at 25% off, which saves you quite a bit of money on especially if you do more than one thing. So there's one cord in. Let's get the second one in. I'll tell you what, I'll do even one better for you guys. If you're watching this video and you want to buy some Amsoil and you want to become a preferred customer, you send me a message in the chat, in the messages, say, just put in there, I want to become a preferred customer. I will pay for your first 6 month preferred customer, which will then I will send you, I will probably need a little information, name, address, phone number, but I will, once you're set up in their system, I'll get you your customer number, and then you can order right online at the 25% off. So if anybody watching this wants to do that, I'm gonna put a limit on that of I better put a limit on the first 10 people. I'll do it for the first 10 people. But if you want to become a free preferred customer the first time, I'll pay for that for you. I have a feeling once you become a customer, you're just going to keep buying Amsoil products from them on out. You can watch YouTube. There's all kinds of videos. There's lots of good oils. But I do think that Amsoil just uses the best base stock that you can get. I mean, it's made in America, established in America, doesn't go anywhere outside the country. There's no tariffs on it, folks. Good stuff. All right, so we got 2 quarts in. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this dipstick. Put this back in. Just snug that down barely. I'm gonna start it up. I like to let them run about a couple minutes just to make sure that that oil filter gets filled with oil. And that everything's good. You can take a look underneath. This is kind of good practice for all oil changes that you do. Now, you still might see a drip or two because of that dang skid plate, but there are several drips up there still. But we want to make sure that oil filter is not just leaking and running, and it's not. I'm going to let that just run about 10 or 20 more seconds. And then I shut it off, and then I'm going to let it sit. I'm going to let it sit about 5 minutes and just let that oil run down, and I'll be back. Okay, while that oil's running back down in the motor, let's go ahead and look at some grease zerks in the back here. See, there's one down here on the bottom of the hub. onto there and give that a few pumps. Also one on the top. Get to it. One there. One there. One on the bottom. Get two. I got 3 pumps in there. Nothing got good. They just don't seem to care about the grease gun. That's the back. And then as we come around, there are a few on the front. One there. That one not bad. Got one on the other side, which does look like it's bad. At least you can get to it from the top. Got that one. See that one's right in there. Gonna have 2 on the other side. Same spot. I looked on the drive line, I didn't see any. If you happen to know of any on the drive line, let me know. But get that one. And on the other side, it appears that those are just the easiest just to drop in from the top if you've got enough cable. Okay, got that one. Get it back off. Okay. Can't really see if there's any others. I don't know. On the back side of this hub. Don't see any more. If any of you guys know of any I missed, let me know, but I think that's it with the grease gun. Alright, we're going to go ahead and check this oil now. It should have been drained down plenty. Pull it out. Clean the stick. And looking at this stick, it's basically got a full to that top line there. So does say tighten to check, so we are going to tighten it down. Let it set for a second or two. Take it back out. Let's see how close our two quarts did. And it is right to the line, so I'm happy with that. Go ahead and put that back in. So, with that being done, we basically have changed all of the fluids. Front diff, engine, the transmission, and the rear diff. We've greased most of the grease zerks that I can get to. Next thing we're gonna do is look at the air filter. Okay, let's check the air filter. First thing you do, basically, there's a latch on the bottom. You just have to lift up on that little latch. Comes off that hook. Comes off. And then as you're looking inside, got this little breather extension that goes for the clutch. We'll take that off and we're gonna wipe that down and clean it. And to get to your air filter, just remove this. That cover comes off. We're gonna look at that and clean it. Make sure that seal is good. And then this is the first time I'm ever taking a look at this filter. I'm gonna pull that out. And it looks like it's got a sock on it. And what I am going to do is come outside here and this is like a pre-filter. I'll take it off if it will come off. That's pretty dirty, and I'm going to look at the filter. It's actually not too bad. That's pretty impressive for the riding I've done so far. I'm going to start by, I'm just going to blow this old one out so I get my air. Really, that wasn't bad at all. Take this sock and blow it out as well. Pull that back on. That's really clean actually for 200 miles. That tells me that filtering system maybe is a lot better than my side-by-side. Pull this back over, just over that lip. Over that lip, just over that lip. I'm ready to go back in. Okay, so I'm just going to take a rag and just clean this air box out a little. Just try to clean it on the inside. That looks really good. Make sure you put the open end in. That slides over the other side. It holds tight. And then I'm going to take this extension, I'm going to kind of just clean that off with a rag. That's good. And then the inside of this, I just like to wipe these all down. So this has the seal, looks pretty good. This has got this notch that's going to go right over that cover from the bottom. And the other thing you got to do, see these two tabs on the bottom? There's two tabs there in that spot. You got to cover that up pull that back over, and that is good. And then we're just going to put the cover back on here, and that's good. So that's it for the air filter. I'm going to wipe that down just a hair. So when you put the seat back on, you'll notice that there's that slot up front that's got to go over that deal there. So you want to line that up, push it on, and then just snap the seat into position. Can't think of anything else I need to do. The last thing I'm going to do, and I always do this, is I record the miles and the hours on it when I changed everything. So I'm going to put that in my phone so that I know when I did it last when I go to check. But that pretty much is a complete first service on Polaris XP850. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them for you. And remember, if you want to buy Amsoil at 25% off, leave me a message as well. Feels good to have that first service done. It's ready to ride. This is the Trail Explorer. We'll be back with you next time.